What's going on, everybody? Spaceballs here. Welcome back to another Skylanders video. Alright, everyone. Today I want to talk about the new substitution that came into the game. I've been getting a lot of questions on how does it work? Why is my time 18 minutes? Why is this person's time 2 minutes? So I want to talk about that here today and basically explain to you guys how it works and what you should be focusing on, like what levels and what substitution you should be doing in general. So let's just get right into it here and let's pull up the substitution. Now, they had just added this with the last patch, guys. And the first thing I want to say about it is I absolutely love it because when I'm not home and I'm not in front of the computer or in front of my phone in general, or I can't have my phone running for 24/7, this allows me to farm the same resources I would farm if I was sitting here and farming it 20 autos at a time. It really allows you to do the same thing. Now, again, if you have 18 or 16-minute runs, again, it's not going to feel as good because you're only going to be doing like 2 to 3 runs an hour. Suppose if you're doing 2-minute runs, which will be giving you the same resources that you'd be getting if you were sitting here farming, by hand. So for me, like I did some testing here and on my first one, and this is on hard mode, if I do this one here, I actually do 2-minute runs. And yes, it's less gold and less resources, but doing a 2-minute run is going to allow me to do so many more per hour. Now, I don't really like doing stage 1 because I feel like I really don't get a lot of resources, to be quite honest with you. So I would say that having a shorter time is good. But I do feel like you want to be past like level 4 at least, maybe 3 or 4. Because I feel like these earlier ones, you're not going to be getting as much as you would if you were doing a 2-minute run. Or, even a 6-minute run on 10 or 9. Let's say you go into your subjugation and every single island you click on is 16 to 18 minutes. But your first island is 2 minutes. You're definitely going to be better off doing the first island. Basically, when you start focusing on what island you want to start like grinding or building so you can make your time faster, in my recommendation that would be stage 10, because again, stage 10 is going to give you the most resources overall. So the more times you farm this, it's higher gold, it's higher splendor chance, just higher overall resources in general. So like I wouldn't recommend going to like stage 4 and saying, all right, let me get my team down to 2 minutes here. So for example, I have 16 minutes here. And then if I go on stage 10, I'm also going to have 16 minutes. So I'm better off building this team than going to stage 4 and building that team. That's like the point I'm trying to get across here. Like, if you have 16-minute teams across the board, go to stage 10 and focus on that team. Make that team your 2 to 4 minute team because overall it's going to give you more resources. And I'm not saying over time, because with the normal substitution, you have to basically max everything out anyways. I'm just saying it's better for you to focus on stage 10 first, because this is going to give you the most resources overall. So for me, for example, I just pulled Astro Blast. I'm going to be working on him anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then I have Light Flashwing, Eruptor, Spotlight, Tree Rex, and Igniter. And I've been building them, and I'm going to put some recyclable runes on them, as in like my garbage runes. I'm going to try to get this down to like 2 to 4 minutes, and it'll be like basically farming as if I was farming it here manually. And I was also looking at stage 9 for myself as well, because I believe stage 8, 9, and 10 are okay to do the substitution in. So like, let's say here on stage 9, for example, I already have an 8-minute run. So for me, this is where I've been running because it's an 8-minute run without me having to do anything, because I was already building Nightfall. I already have Sark Shooter built. I already have Pit Boss built. And I plan on building Dark Sparrow and Sprocket in the future. So for me, I think I'm honestly going to go with stage 9 first because it just makes more sense for me, because it's going to be much easier for me to get this time down to 4 to 2 minutes. And then eventually I'll go to stage 10. And I don't think the resource gap is very huge from stage 9 to stage 10. Now, of course, I will have more of a chance of getting more resources from stage 10. But the real point I'm trying to make here is like you really have to look at your stage 8, 9, and 10 and see where you are. Because obviously if you're at 8 minutes on stage 9, and you're at 16 to 18 minutes on stage 10, you are much better off finishing off the build you already started on stage 9, because that probably means that you're already building those specific Skylanders, so you're not wasting resources building Skylanders that you're probably not going to use anytime soon just to do the substitution. And I believe that's a perfect example of it here that I'm showing you on my stage 9 and stage 10. That's why my stage 9 is already at 8 minutes and my stage 10 is still at 16 minutes, because most of these Skylanders I'm not really working on. And I honestly almost made the mistake of just building them just to get this down to, 2 to 4 minutes, until I actually went back and looked at my stage 8 and 9 and realized that I'm already building most of these Skylanders. So it's in my best interest to keep building these Skylanders, and then I'm going to get this down to 2 minutes, and I believe that's going to be just as good as doing, you know, stage 10 in 8 or 16 minutes. It's absolutely going to be better. I mean, eventually, if I get stage 10, you know, to 2 minutes, that's going to be better. But I believe stage 9 is going to be just as good as stage 10. Same thing with stage 8. I would say stage 8, stage 9, and stage 10 are the 3 stages you want to stick to. So look at those 3 stages, see what Skylanders are in those boxes, see which ones you actually want to build, and kind of take it from there. But this will help you in not like building Skylanders that you don't need to build right now, because we all know that resources are few and far between in this game. So doing it this way is really going to allow you to maximize, you know, your resources and building Skylanders early on. The same thing I'm doing here. So the only thing I'm really going to be building outside the box here is Rocky Roll. And I think I can actually replace him with something else. Like if I build up another Earth unit, I could probably get out of having to build Rocky Roll, because as you build up other units, it will actually change here. And this goes back to the regular substitution. So let me show you. I mean, over time, you guys are going to eventually want to build all of these Skylanders because you want to maximize your time here, which gives you more gold, more blue potions. But like just to do it early on and just to get your grind going, you really want to focus on the Skylanders that you're currently building, you know, to make those 8, 9, or 10 runs faster. The faster they are, the more runs you're going to do in a shorter amount of time. I hope this is all making sense to you guys. I'm trying to explain it the best I can. You know, like, for example, here, like, if you look at stage 9 here, we have Rocky Row, and he has 12,000 power, and he is an Earth, so we would have to replace him with another Earth. And looking here, we can probably put Tip there. So that's a perfect example of this. So don't, like, look at those. Make sure you come back to this substitution, and you look here and see which ones you can actually put there. Because some people will see Rocky Row, and they're like, oh, I have to build Rocky Row. But you don't actually have to build Rocky Row, because if you look here, we can actually put Tip in his place. And I'd much rather build Tip than Rocky Row, because I don't believe you need to have like max super boosted. It's really about team power at the end of the day. The runs get faster with more team power. So honestly, like, I would come back and check here. So let's say that like a Rocky Row, for example, if you don't want to build him, come here and check and see what you can replace that Rocky Row with. So for me, it is Tip. So that is what I'll do in the future. So when I actually start building this team, I'll replace Rocky Row for Tip. And the same thing, like if I didn't want to build Dark Sparrow and I'd rather build Hex, I could switch Dark Sparrow out for Hex. Perfect example. So like you don't necessarily have to build Skylanders you don't want to. Maybe to an extent, because I don't want to build Hex or Tip right now. But I would much rather build Hex and Tip than build Dark Sparrow and Rocky Roll at my current spot in the game. So coming back to this substitution will actually put you in the direction you want to be and build the Skylanders you actually want to build. So you're not forced to build, you know, premiums and rares that you might have never wanted to build to begin with. So I think this is a really good way to get like a guide for yourself and really decide what Skylanders you want to build for your actual substitution runs. So for me, this team that I'm looking at now fits me perfectly. I don't mind building it. I know Hex isn't that great, but in the future when I get her super boosted, I do want to use her. So I'm much more comfortable building this than the current team we looked at on stage 9. So I'll probably stick to this team here and get my stage 9 down to 2 minutes. The reason I leave it the way it is now, it's because it's, I believe, 8 minutes. And 8 minutes is my fastest time on 8, 9, and 10. But it would actually be really easy for me to level up Hex and Tip. I could just throw them in the team and get them up to level 80, and that's going to increase my time probably significantly. So that's probably what I'll do in the future. It just saves me from having to build Skylanders I wouldn't want to build. I mean, you're always going to see this exclamation point like now, because it's going to show you that, you know, my Dark Sparrow has more power than my Hex, and my Roller has more power than my Tip. But if I build them up and level them up, they're going to potentially have more power than my Dark Sparrow and my Rocky Roll. So just keep that in mind. When you're looking from the other page, it's only going to show you the ones you have here, the recommended ones that have the most power. Because all this does is take the ones from the element that you need with the highest power, and it puts it there because it gives you the most amount of gold and resources. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best Skylander. It just means at the time that Skylander has the most power, so they put it in there to get you the most resources. So this is the best way to figure out what Skylanders you actually want to build for your actual substitution runs. For now, I'm going to leave it because it gives me more resources. But now I know that in the future, I actually want to build Hex and Tip over Rocky Roll and Dark Sparrow. Dark Sparrow, I don't really mind too much building him because he's good for a bomb team, but I feel like I'd rather have Hex late game. I was just kind of using Hex as an example. I actually personally think Dark Sparrow might be better than Hex late game, but just saying, I kind of just wanted to use Hex as an example here. So make sure when you're looking at your times here, like this one, for example, let's say like you really don't want to build Crypt King or Fiesta, you can go back to the other page and look and say, all right, what Skylanders can I put in place of these two, or Skylanders you might be building in the future, and then you could switch those two out. Yes, they're going to have to be undead because this is an undead map, but again, if you really like say, I don't want to build Crypt King no matter what, you can go look at your undead Skylanders and see which one you'd rather build in place of him. And that goes for all of these maps here. Now, the last two, 9 and 10, I believe are the easiest because they are mixed between all elements. It's not just light or dark. It's mixed between all the elements, not just one specific element like 8 is. 8 is just undead. But if you have a lot of undead stuff built, then it might be a good choice for you to do 8 instead of 9 and 10. And that goes for all of these, unless you have like, 4, 5, or 6. These are giving you 2-minute runs already without you having to do anything. Then, of course, you're better off running these ones until you build up your 8, 9, and 10 team. But at that point, you're better off just building up 10 or 9. If you're already doing 2-minute runs on like, 4 to 7, you're definitely better off just focusing on your 9 or 10 team because that's, again, going to give you the most resources overall. So there's no point in wasting your time, building up the other ones if you're just going to focus on this anyways. And again, it's not an overall waste because even if you do, 7 or 6, it's going to improve your Guardian time here, which is going to give you more gold, more XP potions, more Portal Master potions. So again, it's not really wasting, but if you're trying to get the fastest team as fast as possible, it's best to focus on 9 and 10. That is just my opinion. So I hope I explained this well. It's not easy to explain. I'm trying to explain it to the best of my abilities. I hope it came out okay. We do have the sub celebration giveaway going on. That video was linked down below. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch and Discord, those are also linked down below. We do 2 monthly giveaways on Discord, random giveaways on Twitch. I truly do love each and every single one of you. I will see you in the next one. Spaceballs out. Peace.